Good morning, everyone, and Boker Tov. This week's Torah portion tells the story of Jacob going home to encounter his brother Esav. The Torah says he tries to make peace with his brother by sending gifts. He prays to God for help. But then he prepares for war. In case his brother does not accept his peace offering, Jacob is prepared to fight to defend his family. And the Torah says, Vayira Yaakov miod. Jacob was very fearful to encounter his brother in battle. Vayetzer lo, and he was distressed. And the rabbis ask, what does it mean he was afraid and distressed? Usually when you're afraid, you're distressed. It goes hand in hand. Why does the Torah emphasize he was fearful and distressed? And one amazing answer given by the Netziv is that Jacob was afraid that he would, God forbid, be killed by his brother, or his family members would be harmed by his brother Esav. Vayetzalo, he was distressed over the fact that he was afraid, because God had promised him at the dream with the ladder and the angels that he would be with him, he would watch over him, he would protect him, he would return him in peace to his father's land, the land of Israel. So Jacob was distressed over the fact that he was afraid. He said, if God promised me, I should be confident, I shouldn't have any fear. And ultimately, he confronted his brother and made peace with his brother. And here we are, 3,500 years later, reliving the same story. Jacob, the Jewish people, Bnei Yisrael, Jacob who becomes Israel in this week's Torah portion, are facing enemies all around us. Not one Esav, but Esavs in every direction. And like Jacob, we prepare with peace offerings. We attempted over and over again to make peace with our enemies. But left with no alternative, we must do battle. And the IDF has been battling its enemies in the war for the past 14 months. But when we look at the young, brave soldiers of the IDF, the young boys and girls, they go without any fear. They go with confidence. They go with a song and with a dance, with faith and optimism in the destiny of the Jewish people, ready to lay down their lives. On October 7th, Hamas thought they would destroy Israel, God forbid. But look what the courage of the IDF has brought about. Hamas is decimated. Its leaders, Hania and Sinwar, are dead. Hezbollah is decapitated. Its leader, Nasrallah, has been killed by Israel. And now Syria has fallen as a result. And as a result of that, Assad, who killed millions of people over the past 5 decades, had to flee to Russia. Russia is weakened because they no longer have a foothold in the Middle East any longer. And Iran, besides all the attacks that Israel brought upon Iran, which severely weakened Iran, now they don't have Syria to prop up as a proxy. They don't have Hezbollah anymore. They don't have Hamas. They don't have Russia. And how did this come about? It came about because of the courage of the IDF. Like Jacob, they went to battle with no alternative and without any sign of fear, but with confidence and trust in God. Why? Because God promised this land to the Jewish people, and we believe in the promise of Hashem that this is the eternal homeland of the Jewish people. And especially after everything we've been through after the past 2 years of exile, we know we have no alternative, especially after the Holocaust, than to have our own Jewish homeland to protect ourselves. And despite the condemnation from the whole world crying genocide, genocide, I didn't see them crying genocide when Assad murdered hundreds of thousands of his own people in the past few years. That was a real genocide. No one called Assad to the International Criminal Court. But the world gangs up on Israel and beats up on Israel. But we prevail. And now we're watching all the wicked, evil empires around Israel crumble one by one. And the world has Israel to thank. And not only that, but now for the first time it looks like Hamas, after over a year of not being willing to make a deal, is a glimmer of hope that there will be a hostage deal, because Hamas has gone so far to submit a list of the names of the hostages that will be returned in a deal that seems that perhaps may be imminent. And why are they doing this? Because they see all their fellow evil regimes and terrorist groups falling and collapsing, and they realize that the walls are closing in on them. And this is why we have to thank the IDF for their faith, for their courage. What an inspiration how they stood up to defend the Jewish people. And not only that, but Eli Cohn and Yehuda Katz and Zvi Feldman and Guy Haver, who are 4 hostages in Syria for the past 4 decades. The great spy Eli Cohn, his renewed hope that maybe they can come back, whether alive or their bodies for a proper burial in Israel. Why? Because on October 7th, like Jacob, we stood up and we said, we're going to fight to defend the Jewish family, the Jewish homeland. Last week, another hostage came home, tragically killed. But the IDF recovered his body, Itai Seversky, and he was in captivity with Noah Argamani. And Noah Argamani was rescued in June in a very daring, courageous mission. And Noah Argamani eulogized her friend Itai and said, Itai, we were together in captivity. We dreamt thousands of scenarios how we would get home and how we would get together for coffee after we're home and reminisce and laugh about our experience. I never expected you to come back to Israel this way, but at least thank God you'll have a proper Jewish burial. And she went on to say, Itai, you were my big brother in captivity. You looked after me. You cared for me. I will never forget you. I will carry you with me with everything, with every moment of my life. I will carry you in your memory. But how was Noah and the other 3 hostages rescued? By a daring mission in June. And tragically, Amnon Zamora, a young father, gave his life to rescue those 3 soldiers. These are the modern day Jacobs, the brave and courageous young fighters. And not only do we as a Jewish people have to thank them, the world should thank them as we see evil collapsing, and we have a real opportunity now to take down the ultimate evil empire, Iran. May God continue to bless the IDF. May all our hostages come home. Let them celebrate Hanukkah with their families. And then we will say, Sha'asa Nisim, God has performed miracles, Vayam Mehem, in those days, Bazban Hazeh, and continued on till this day. Have a great day.